Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about this project that I will be working on the next few weeks, which is building a shed from scratch. So this is what I have so far, is that kennel over there I transformed into a shed. It's 10 by 20, and this one here is 8 by 10. And the plan is to build another shed right here, which will be 8 by 12. So it will be the same width as this one, but 2 feet longer. 8 by 12 seems a perfect size for the type of wood material they sell at the store. They are typically 4 by 8 sheets, so for the flooring and the sides will be a good size. So the plan is that I will need to put the shed here, so somewhere there and towards the back, and the door will be facing this way, and I'll be using blocks like what they have on this one. This has been here for a long time, so I suspect it's fine. So I'll be doing the same thing. I bought some of the mobile home anchors that will anchor the shed to the ground. That way, if there is strong wind, there will be some uplifting wind or something in the future that will stay in place. I don't know if this one is anchored or not, because I wasn't here when it was installed, so it's still here. I just thought I'll spend another 100 or so on anchors and get it anchored. And I also bought some of the 4x4 posts to go to become like skids for it, so it'll be 4x4 by 12. Got 2 of those, and I got pressure treated 2x4 by 8 for joists for the floor, and 3 pieces of plywood 3/4 of an inch pressure treated 4 by 8. So 3 of those for the floor. And then we will have the walls and the gable on top. So you can see this shed here has the barn style roof. That one has just a standard gable roof, but this one is barn style. I don't like the barn one too much, especially when it is small like this. If it was bigger, then it's fine, but for smaller like this, inside the walls are not straight, so you can't really put shelving unit or something in there. So I'm gonna do high walls, like 6.5 or 7 feet high. I already bought panels, siding panels, the same as this one, that one, same exact panels. They were $40 a piece. So I bought 10 of them. Will be 3 on each side and 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And then I may need to buy 1 or 2 more to do the little triangle on the top later for the roof. But that is the plan. So starting point is this, to show where there's nothing, and then throughout the project I'll be doing shorter videos so you can see what I'm talking about. Alright, so I've got the materials here. Oh wow, look. Big wind, all these leaves are falling. Of course, it's the fall season. It's beautiful. Just means I have to clean up the leaves later. Yeah, so I've got all the material for the floor sitting here. So I have the 4x4 by 12 feet long, and I've got 2x4 by 12 for the rim joist, and the 4x4 will be for the skid. And I've got total of, let's see, 16 2x4s that are pressure treated. This is all pressure treated lumber. So these ones with the blue or green stickers came from Lowe's, and the orange ones came from Home Depot from last year. These are leftover from last year's project on that big shed. I purchased a lot of wood, and some of them bent and bowed, so I cut them in half, but these are the good ones, and they look different color because they are super dry These other ones still wet. Anyhow, it is going to be 12 feet long shed, so I decided to go with the 2x4 as the joist as opposed to 2x6. I mean, yeah, 2x6. Just because 2x4 are strong enough, 2x6 are stronger, but it's just a shed. I didn't really need it to be super strong. That other shed over there is 2x4. I checked out the ones they have at the Home Depot and at Lowe's outside. They have a bunch of sheds you can look at. They're all 2x4 joists. I just checked them. So there is really no need for 2x6. So I went with 2x4. And because it's 12 feet long, I will need 13 joists. Where the floor is going to sit, the 4x8 by 3/4 subfloor, you're supposed to set it in perpendicular to the wood, to the joist. So the joist going this way, the floor should sit this way on its length. But in the end, you will have to have that last piece, you know, facing this way to complete 12 feet. But in my mind, I'm thinking it's going to be strong enough anyway, even if I set it like this. So I'm going to do all of them like, you know, 4x8, 4x8, 4x8. That gives me 12 long and 8 wide, which is what I need. But in the middle, in the place where the two subfloors meet, instead of one joist, I'm going to double up on that, and I'm going to put two joists. So that means one gap or two gaps. So I will need two additional joists to put in there. That way it gives me better, of course I will attach them properly together, and that will give me stronger edge for the subfloor. And I will have an extra one if I need it. I think one of them is bowed, so I may not use it at all. But I have 16, I only need 15, so I'm covered there. And it will be sitting on the skids, and I will be using these hurricane ties from Simpson Strong-Tie. So these hurricane ties will be, you know, connected to the joist, and the bottom will be connected to the skid. So that way, and that will keep it strong. Each joist will have two of these connected to it, so it will be very strong. And then the skids themselves will be connected to the ground with some anchors that are used for mobile homes, and I'll show you those later when I'm working on them. And then I'm going to be using 1.5 inch galvanized nails for the top portion, because the joist is only 1.5 inch long, so I'm going to use 1.5 inch. And for the 4x4 below it, the skid, I'm going to be using these, also galvanized, and they are spiral, and these are 2.5 inch long. They are both 8D, so if you do 10D, they won't fit in the hole here. 10D is too thick, so 8D fits. And these are meant for patio and decks, so these are very good screws. I mean, not screws, nails. Or you can use the screws that are made by Strong-Tie, that are 1.5 inches, but they are expensive. Each 100 is like $15 compared to $23 for 750 of these. So these are more economical for a shed, you know. It's just a shed. And then for the subfloor as well, I'll be using this PL400 from Loctite. It says on it, it's subfloor. And then for the joists on the sides and in between and all that stuff, I'll be using this liquid nails. It's strong enough compared to other ones. There are stronger ones, but they are also more expensive. So this was like $5.50 a piece. This one was $5.50 also. This one was $23, $24, and these were like $1 each, less than $1. So I got 26 of them, thinking, 3 each. But now I'm thinking about it, I may need 4 more, because I'll have. Well, no, I'm right. The 2 double ones, I still use 2, not 4. Yeah. Okay, never mind. 26 is good enough. And I have the level. and some other tools. This is just to start with. Of course, I'll need more tools, which I have. I just need to bring them out here. I also bought some blocks here. These are the ones with no gap, so I'll be using these on the ground here, and we'll adjust them as needed to make the skids level. As you can see, this one here, when it was delivered and installed, I wasn't available, I wasn't here, but it looks like they set it on skids, and then the skids set on the blocks. So, and it's been here since 2005, so it's been a long time, and it's been fine. I suspect the one I have will be fine too. And I don't know if it's anchored or not, but I will anchor mine, so that's even better. Anyhow, so this is what I have to start with, and I will do more videos, you know, just to cover what I'm doing as I go along. Thank you. All right, so I spent maybe about 2 hours to get this thing to the stage that I'm on, which is I laid down the bricks or the blocks. These are solid blocks. I got them from Lowe's, and I've got the 4x4x12 laying down, which is the way I want it to be. And I have the joists going across. I will have 13 joists. Earlier I mentioned 13, but I forgot to mention I'm doing 12 on center, not 16 on center. So I will be doing 12 on center just to make it stronger than 16 on center. So that's why it's 13, and I'll be adding 2 additional in the center there where the plywood will meet the other piece to make them stronger. So that's where we are. It's getting dark, so I'm going to go ahead and make my cuts. The width will be 8, so I need to cut some of the 8 feet long ones. I need to cut a little bit, maybe 3 inches, to compensate for the rim joist on left or right. I need the total to be 8. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do next. Oh yeah, the leveling too took me time to level, because it needs to be level, you know, that way, front to back, and then once you level these, then you need to level it left to right. So I did that. That took time, actually. I needed to remove bricks, put bricks, you know, hit it with the hammer, the ground, hit that ground with the hammer, and I used this thing to compact the ground. This is a compactor, or what is it called? Paver, maybe it's called paver. Kind of just hit it like that. So yeah, that was hard. But I got it done, and once it's built, it will settle and sit right. Okay, so I'm gonna do the joists now. Well, I've been working this evening on this, so I cut the joists to 93 inches long, because the rim joist will be these two, and that will include 3 inches extra, 1.5, 1.5. So that will give me 96 inches long, which is 8 feet, and so that's how it's gonna be. But the daylight savings ended today, so it got dark. Like at 5:15 was dark, so I'm working right now. It's, I don't know, maybe it's 10 o'clock, but I had to take a break. So I've got my LED projector lights right here, so I'm good. But I think the noise that I'm making with the impact driver is too much, so I don't want to you know, bother the neighbors. So I attached these 2 double ones, these 2 and these 2, with glue, the glue I showed you earlier. So I attached them, and I used clamps to adjust them to be extremely even, and I put nails, 3-inch nails throughout on both sides. Actually, you only need one side, but I've got so many nails, so I put them on both sides. So yeah, I did both of these, and I think that was too much noise, so I'm gonna quit for tonight. Just gonna leave this wood out here, even though it's high humidity and moisture, but I think they'll be fine. They are pressure treated. So these are the rim joists, and I marked the studs 12 inches on center, as I said earlier, and I marked them all around from all sides. That way, when you have the subfloor on top, you will be able to still see where the joists are to screw the floor down and all that. So you can see I marked these two here at 8 feet and another one at 4 feet. And you can see I cut all of these properly. You see they're all one. I actually cut them from both sides just to have a smooth surface for the glue. I'm going to be putting glue plus 2 screws on each joist on each end, the 3-inch screws. That should be strong enough. And then in between I'm going to put the blocking for that. I'll show you later, but just wanted to do a quick update. It's I think 10 o'clock at night, so I need to go in and take a shower and do other things to be ready tomorrow for work. All right, cheers. All right, so I laid down the joists. You can see they are all here, -2, and these are the 2 that will have the edges of the plywood, this one and this one. See, it's doubled up 2x4. So what I did is I moved the rim joist from both sides and the joist from the front and the back, and I brought them over here to do them separately. I was at Lowe's and I bought these. These are strong ties that go in the center here, and it's supposed to give you 90-degree angle without having to do the 45 miter cuts. Now of course I didn't do that. I just used, you know, one on top of the other to get the 90-degree. So after I did 2 screws plus the glue in between, I did them all 4 corners and made sure it is square. I used this framing square, or whatever you want to call it. I used it to make sure all corners are square, and then I went ahead and used this part here. So for the top, because they are going sideways, I used these 2.5-inch spiral AD galvanized nails, and there is 4 more on this side. As you can see here, I used the Strong-Tie 1.5-inch galvanized because you don't want them to go too deep in there like this. So that's just one corner I wanted to show. I will do the rest of them. This will end up being in the bottom, so when I finish here I will take the whole thing and flip it this way, so all these will be towards the bottom and there will be nothing going on top of them. They'll be just sitting like this. The main purpose of these is to have the 90-degree angle, sturdy and not changing while I move it. That's all. So these were on clearance for 67 cents, usually like $2.67, but 67 cents. I got 4 of them for 4 corners, and that's all I need them for. Just wanted to show that. Alright guys, so I finished with the floor for the shed. As you can see in the corners here, I had to put some bracing because it just kept going out of square. So I eventually got it all the way correct. From this corner to that corner there is 170 inches and 3/4, and the same thing from here to that corner is 170 inches and 3/4. So I tried so much to get it to that, so I even had to put a nail here, a nail there on the 4x4 post to make sure this thing is not pulling out because it just kept falling off. But yeah, eventually got it. But you know, it's important to have the floor square, because if you don't, then everything else will be problematic. You will have issues. To start with will be the plywood will not sit right. Assume you cut it, then the walls, then the panels on the walls, then the roof, and everything else will just be a mess if the floor is not square. So I'm glad I got it square. It took me over an hour or two to get that done, but it's done. The 2x4, double 2x4 in the middle there, one and two of them, I put glue, adhesive, construction adhesive on both ends. The rest of the joists, no adhesives, just 2 3-inch screws on each end. I had to use clamps to keep the joist from going above or below the rim joist, so I used clamp to hold it this way so it doesn't go above, and clamp on the side. When I screw the screw in, most of the time the joist will go like this and be pushed towards the other side, the opposite side, so I had to use a clamp just to keep it in place. But I'm happy with it. Now it's going to be raining this evening and all day tomorrow, so I will not get back to it until 2 days later. So I have a tarp, I'm going to cover it, and hopefully everything stays the same 2 days later after heavy rain. All right, I will update you later. Cheers. All right, so I used this tarp I borrowed from my friend of mine. It's huge, so I didn't even unfold it all the way, but I covered the floor framing. I put a box underneath there to give it a little bit of a ridge, so when the rain comes down it's not gonna stick in the middle, it just slides down and hopefully all the way out. So I just wanted to show this part. Preparing for heavy rain tonight and tomorrow. All right, thank you. Guys, it was raining so hard and this tarp here became very useful, so it protected the framing for the floor very well. Everything is very dry, just like if it wasn't raining. Even the ground underneath is dry, so good. So the next thing I did is put these joist bracings in the whole area in the middle, so you know, each one cut to size and put in the middle there and staggered left or right towards the center, from the center, and they are all in place. So the next step is to install the hurricane ties on both ends, on this side to the skids, to the 4x4 post. Same thing on this side, so they will be all installed on both sides. And then after that I will be installing the anchors for the shed. They'll be attached in 4 corners. That's the plan, at least. We'll see, but attached from 4 corners to the ground. So the skids are attached to that anchor to the ground, and then the floor is attached to the skid by those hurricane ties and should hold it in place. So that's the next step. So we had so much rain yesterday overnight, and this is what the tarp did. It protected the floor framing, except this portion here, but I suspect it was fine because the wood itself is very dry. So I think this was fine until this morning when there was too much wind but no rain. But yeah, I'm gonna have to clear the water out and take the tarp. Everything should be dry underneath. Now is the step of installing the auger anchors for it in the ground. I've got them in that box there, that brown box, so we'll get to that shortly. Okay guys, so as I said in my previous short clip, that I will be, next step will be the anchors. So these are the anchors I'm talking about. So they are this, let me show you the box. I'm doing a separate video for these, so I will probably post it before I post the video for the whole shed. But this what comes in it. It's a kit that includes four of these. These are big, actually, very big. comparing with my hand. It has two of them, two auger shaped thingies, and goes down to the ground, and you can see how long it is. It's like 30 or 36 inches long. Comes with these strips, 4 of them. They are 8 feet each. It has this metal clip in the front, so it's pretty nice actually. And it comes with these bolts that you're supposed to thread this strip inside of the bolt, and you tighten it until it's tight enough. Then this square shape goes inside of this hole here, and it keeps it in place after you tighten this nut. So I'll have a separate video for this altogether, because there's not many videos on YouTube about how to anchor a shed. But this is one of them I already did. It's already down in the ground there, and it's right next to this. So hopefully be able to wrap it around there and tighten it here and keeps it in place. Now they are heavy duty, so you may need only 2. I don't know, you can put one in the center here and one in the front, but I bought a kit of 4. They sell a kit of 8 if you want to buy that, but I used this block with a hammer, and that pushes it down a few inches, and then you will need to use this block 2x4 to turn it. And when it gets to this level, you will not be able to do that unless this is in a corner like this. It keep turning until you can't anymore, and then at that point it will go down in the ground. You'll have to use one of these or similar. This is just a 2x4 ripped in half, and it fits perfectly, and you just turn it, and it got all the way down there. So I'll show you the finished product later. Alright, so I completed the anchors. This is one on this corner, so you can see it is attached to the thing I driven into the ground with the strip and the bolt there holding in place, nails. Same thing on this other corner. Very, very strong. Very, very strong. So there you go. There is one more here, and the last one is on this corner. So the plan was that one there, I was gonna put it same location as this one, but there was big rock underneath there, and there, so I couldn't really go down more than 2 feet. So this anchor was sticking up like a feet above the floor, so I had to move it to that corner, which is tight, but I had to. This one luckily just got in, so it's not in the corner, but I don't want it to be tight and work with it there, so here is good. So next step is to finish installing all the hurricane ties, like that one there. All the hurricane ties, attach them all the way down. Same thing there. So the floor will be attached to the post very well with the hurricane ties. Yeah, we'll show that after I'm finished. Okay guys, so I installed all the hurricane ties on all joists. So one on each end of the joist. This one I didn't on this side, I did it on this other side because that side had that knot in it, so I couldn't attach it there. Yes, baby. So I had to attach it here. Okay, and you can see they are all the way here, and we go to the other side. Same thing. You can see they are all attached here. So with the hurricane ties on each single side of a joist, they are attached very, very well to the post, and the post, as you can see, attached to the ground really, really well with these anchors. So I think we are in business. Next step is installing the plywood, the 3/4 inch plywood. I already put these two pieces of support here, so the plywood will sit flush with the rim joist and the front joist here. On this side I only put one because I wanted to have access to the other side, so I'll just push it to one side. Alright, so the next step will be the plywood. Well, one of the 3/4 inch plywood, pressure treated plywood that I got for the floor, one of them is bowed a little bit. It's still usable, but I thought I'll try flatten it since the day is sunny and the temperature is high. I put it out in the driveway, and I put one of these landscaping timbers under landscaping bricks underneath, and a couple on each side just to keep it from moving, and also apply some weight on it. So I'll leave it here for maybe 15 minutes and come back to check it later to see if it's flattened. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes and it's the same thing. It didn't get fixed or anything, so I can leave it longer, and I'm not sure if it will not fix itself, or I can just leave it as is and deal with it. So I think I'm gonna choose option number 2, leave it as is, because I need to leave right now and go pick up some stuff to finish building the floor. Okay, so we'll get to that. Alright, so I brought one of the plywood pieces. This is going to be the side down. The other side is better in my opinion than this one, so it will be flipped down. I tried repairing one of them that was bent a little, and it seems like it fixed a little bit, but not much, maybe not even, but you'll see. I'll put that in the end there, the last piece. This is one of the flat ones. So I'm gonna be putting adhesive, subfloor adhesive on all these joists, and put the floor on it, and I will secure it with some screws. This is the adhesive I will be using. This is called, let me turn this around. Use the other one. Use the other swing. This is Loctite PL400, and it is meant for subfloor. So I got 2 of these. I think one is enough, but I got 2. And I'm using this Ryobi adhesive gun. This is only compatible with the 10-ounce tubes. It's not compatible with the 28-ounce tubes if you have those. I was gonna use these Spax screws. They are 1.25 inch long. They are very nice screws. I'll show you. They have very nice bugle head, wide. It would keep the floor down, but it's just a tiny bit shorter than I want it to be. If it was 2 inches or 1 3/4 will be fine, but 1.5 is just kind of little, because the floor itself is 3/4, so I will be left with 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, so it's not enough. But I'm gonna use these GRK ones. These are GRK 2-inch. There is 990 in this bucket, and it says here treated lumber approved, so it should be fine to use them. They also have this type of head, so it will be fine with the floor, but it is long enough, so it will go down 1 inch or so into the joist. So these are the ones I'll be using. So I'm gonna go ahead and put adhesive on here. My son is having fun on this plywood. Say hello.
Hello.
You've been a big help today. I'm by myself, so these pieces of plywood are very heavy. So to bring them from the garage to here, Liam had to help me by laying down cardboard boxes, and I was just sliding it down on the edge just so it can slide easily without scratching the edge. and he helped me doing that the whole way. So he proven helpful. Okay, we'll show you the finished product later. Okay friends, so I completed installing one plywood here for the floor, and I put, of course, the glue, subfloor glue, and I used the 2-inch screws I showed you earlier, and I put them every 6 inches this way, and of course all over the joists, and the dividers in the center here, the support studs, I also put every 4 inches, so 2 on each, just added bonus. They are there, why not use them? And the same thing on the side there, and the edges also every 6 inches. And it's been a week actually, because it's been raining and very cold, and it gets dark right after work, so I didn't want to work on this while it's dark, because I wanted to take a good look on the side of the board that I want to use in sunlight, so I can tell which one is good. Now this one was my choice to go in the end, but after looking at the 2 leftover pieces, this one was actually better than the other one. So I'm gonna put this face down here, the second part, and then that third piece I'll put it here because it has a couple holes in it on one of the layers. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, the thin layers they have, it has a couple holes. So since I don't have a pickup truck, it would be difficult to take back to the store to exchange it to another better one. So I'm just gonna use it, and later on I'll have some of that wood repair thing, they call it plastic wood. I bought it for some other thing to do, so I'm just gonna use it there and sand it later. So that's where I'm at. Gonna do these 2, and I'll show you the finished product. All right, cheers. Okay guys, so I finished with the floor completely. So I have the 3 plywood set up here, and they sit nicely. You know, it's just a shed, and even if it was inside the house, you will be putting, you know, the final flooring on top, so it should be fine. But this is final flooring for a shed, and it's good. My son was helping me. Liam, say hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
How you doing?
What are we doing? We are building a shed?
Yeah.
And what else?
We're
What?
building my treehouse.
Oh yeah, 3 houses later after this. You are correct. I told them once I finish the shed here, we will be building a tree house over there. So that is my next project after the shed. Anyhow, I wanted to say I used one of these subfloor adhesive tubes, 1 for each board. So I used 3 of these total, and just wanted to mention that in case you want to use it. And that was more than sufficient for each board, each plywood. Yeah, so everything is good. I'm happy with it. The next step is to do the walls, which I will be going to the store this evening. You can see the ice there on the floor, on the grass. When I removed the tarp today, there was a bunch of water and ice because it was super cold at night, and in the morning it was like 11 o'clock and there was still ice on it. So now I think it's around 3 o'clock and it's still not melted, even though it was sunny earlier. But yeah, it's cold. Yeah, so I'm going to cover it now, and I'll be going to get the material, the studs for the 2 long walls, and then once I finish these, I'll get the material for the back wall and the front for the door, and we'll move forward. All right. Okay, so I went to the store today and I got my studs. So the top plate and lower plate, bottom plate for the wall, 1.5 inch each. So that's 3 inches, and we have 3/4 of an inch for the plywood, and we have, we want to do an inch or 2 down below that. So I decided to do a total of 6 inches to cut away from the 8 feet long studs, so down to 90 inches each now. So I've got 20, 10 for each, that is 16 on center, and I've got the other material here, the rest of it. And what I did here for my miter saw, I created a jig rather than me measuring and cutting each single stud. I created a jig, that way they all get cut at the same length, exactly the same. So just you know, an older or just an additional piece of 8 feet long stud, and I added, you know, measured 6 inches from here to here, and I put this piece of wood, and now every time I put the actual stud here, you know, it is minus 6 inches, because on this end going to be cutting 6 inches. So at least my miter saw, I have to use the thing here to hold it in place, and that gives me space for just enough for the stud to be standing vertically. So I cut it 2 times, since this doesn't go all the way deep just because of the obstacle here. So it goes half down, and then I flip it and do the other half from the other end, and it cuts really well. So this is some of the cuts. So I marked the size that I wanted to cut, and cut them. Yeah, that's a bad one. So that needed to be fixed, but yeah, maybe this one too. But you know, on the stud itself, I did fix this, so there is no indentation or anything. So anyhow, I just wanted to show this part, and I'm about half done. Today it's a cold weather. It's lower 40s now, and the sun is out. So later, once it gets dark, it's going to get down below freezing. So I'll try to finish before then. If I didn't, then I might just wear more clothes and come back and finish the walls. But what I was gonna do, finish the walls and just leave them sitting on the floor there and cover them all together, and I'll stand them up next time I have a whole day. Right now I don't have whole day for the next 3 days, so I'll have to wait. Okay, thanks. Alright guys, so I completed the walls, side walls that is. The one on the right and the one on the left over there, still laying down on the floor. As you can see, they have a height to them, and that's good. I made them 7.5 feet high, and then the other half foot is, you know, for the bottom here, so it can be covered with the 8 feet tall siding, LP smart panels, and a little bit on top. So total is going to be 8 feet, and it goes down to like maybe 1 inch below. I mean, it will be 1 inch left down there on the rim joist. But that is, so right now it is supported by these two studs. That's it. But I'm going to be using these 3.5 inch long screws, because you want it to go down into the joist, so it will be long enough to go. And it needs to be one of those screws that can be used in pressure treated lumber, because this is pressure treated, non-pressure treated, but this is supposed to go down like this much. So I think this is good enough. I can maybe even drive it down a little more, doesn't matter. But 3.5 or maybe even 4 inch if you have 4 inch screws, but I don't. 3.5 is fine, will be supported by the rest of the shed. So I will be putting 2 in each section here, and because this is still open, I can see where the joists are. So I will do, for example, one here towards the edge, so it hits the rim joist, and when I'm down here I can put one a little bit further, maybe 3 each section. I mean, it doesn't hurt, I have screws, why not use them? So supposed to be like 1 screw every 2 inches of material will be fine, you know. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing, that's what I'm at. I'm going to do this side wall and the left side wall, and we'll start on the back wall I need to have these two up and standing so I can have correct measurements for the back wall. You can figure it out by yourself, you know, without the walls, but still, it's better if the walls are there. All right, so that's where I'm at. Thanks. Okay, so I stood up the second side wall, and now they are attached to the floor in the front and in the back. Same thing, that one I left the middle not attached, just so I can have a little bit of wiggle room in case I need to do that when I'm lifting the back wall up, because I'm going to be assembling it there. So I took measurements and everything. I put support here. It is strong enough, it's not going to fall, but if you push it hard it will break and fall down. But that's where I'm at right now. It's getting dark, so I'm going to go ahead and do the back wall and stand it up if I could, and then attach it and attach everything, and then we'll do some more video tomorrow during daylight. Maybe you'll do one tonight when it's dark, but not sure. But that's where I'm at. Back wall now. Alright, so I completed the back wall, but it was really dark last night, so I didn't do the video, and I had to cover it with the tarp, as you can see, just to kind of keep the moisture away. It wasn't gonna rain, I knew that, but just to protect it. I've got the tarp, so why not use it? So I'm going to remove the tarp, and my son is playing in there. He says that's his blue room. He likes it. But yeah, I'm going to remove the tarp and show you the back wall, and then today I'm hoping I will finish. This morning I'll finish the front wall with the door opening, and hopefully start the planning on the top roof. So we'll see how it goes. It's supposed to rain tonight, so I'm hoping to do something on the top where I can put the tarp there. If I leave it like this while it's raining, there is no way it's standing, because the water will accumulate on the top there and will push it down. I bought rope to put in these holes here and, you know, drag it down, but we'll see. Hopefully I can get something done on the roof and we'll have like a peak, so the water will just, you know, go down. But that's where I'm at. I'm gonna remove the tarp now. Alright, so there is the back wall. I removed the tarp now, and I have some wood here that is good for the front wall, the door and all that. Yeah, so this is how the back wall is. So what I did for this, it's 89 inches. The bottom plate and the top plate are 89 inches in width. So you need, if you're doing that, you need to start measuring from the center. So you need to find the exact center, which I did is 44.5 inches. And then from there, you measure studs this way, 16 inches on center, and then studs from the center again on the other side. That will give you a center stud that is going to match, hopefully going to match with the peak of the roof, and you will have the LP smart panels sitting properly in the center and go this way, and the center go that way. And even if you have a little bit extra there, which in my case I wouldn't, because I have 3.5 inches there for the sidewall stud and another 3.5 there for the other sidewall stud, so that gives me 96 inches, which is 8 feet. So just wanted to mention that. For securing the wall to the bottom plate, I used 3.5 inch screws like I showed you yesterday in the video. So yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, I'll show you the next step. All right, friends, so I completed the front wall with the door opening and all that, all completed there and good to go. But it got too late and it was about to rain in a few hours, so I had to start covering the shed with the tarp to make sure it stays dry. And it did rain hard a night, not last night but the night before. So it's a good thing I covered it. And you can see on the top, you see those two little sort of ridges up there. These are 2x4 standing up, two of them on top of other 2x4 that are sideways. I'll show you pictures now. I'll insert the pictures now from the inside the night I set it up. As you see in the picture, what that did is when it rained, it would give the tarp support from the weight of the water. So these 2x4s will prevent the water from accumulating on top and just slide out, which it did, except in the back of this side, there was some water, just a little bit on the back, but I already nailed the thing in place, so I couldn't really stretch it further. So it was good to go. I'm gonna walk you around just because I'm sort of proud of how I covered it, just like a box. So the whole thing is covered except that portion there. I couldn't get it covered just because of the size limitation, so I had to use one of these big heavy duty boxes that I had from a purchase I made, and covered it very good. I don't think it's wet even one drop inside. But this is how it looks like. This is the back, and I use nails, in different spots on the studs and on the bottom, just to keep the tarp from moving with strong wind. But it's covered completely, just like a gift box. And I also folded the tarp inward and then this side outward, so the water does not accumulate in that triangle and keep pushing in. And this way the water drips there and goes down out, not inside the triangle, if you do it the other way around. So that's how it looks like. Alright, I'm going to remove the tarp now and I will show you inside, and the next step will be doing the roof rafters. And once I'm finished with that, we will hopefully install the plywood on top, the roofing plywood, and sheathing. That's called sheathing. And we'll do shingles. Alright, cheers. Hello friends. So another update. I happened to face a bunch of rain recently, so I couldn't work on it too much, but I completed one of the rafters for the roof and used it as a template to work on the rest. But this is what I came up with. So this bottom, I think they call it cord, C-H-O-R-D. It's full 8 feet long with a cut of 60-degree angle, and the top ones are still 8 feet long, but I will be cutting them to where that line is. That is 67 inches from the top, and I don't remember the measurement of this thing in the middle, but it's best if you assemble this and that, and then you will have good measurement to measure and come up with that piece, because I cut it afterwards. And I'm also using these, they call them plate menders, or plate mender. In the website where you buy them from and in the description of the item, it tells you they are not meant for trusses. So they are not meant for trusses. But I'm using them in addition to some screws I'm putting in. So I'm putting in screws this way, up here, 3.5 inches long, and one on each side, and the bottom, and this way too. So it is attached with screws. And afterwards, when you are finished, you will have, you know, the roof sheathing on top of it, so it will be sturdy. And also you will have, or I will have, a piece of 2x4x12 from here going all the way back, and maybe one from the other side to keep it even. Plus, it's not a house, it's just a, you know, shed. For a house, probably can't use this. You would do something else that is approved by code, but I don't know. A bunch of people use this. Even the sheds I have, the small and the large one, they all use this kind of mending plate for the roof. So I'm gonna go ahead and use it. I wanted to show you something quickly, is how to use, or not how to use, but how I use the framing square, or triangle. I think they call it speed square. So I have this one from Swanson, I have Craftsman right there, and I have Milwaukee ones, but they all do the same job, find angles and different things, and all these things here do different stuff that I'm not too familiar with everything, but I familiarized myself with how to do angles. Once you put this is called pivot point. This one doesn't say it, this one does, and many other ones do say it's a pivot point, but this one doesn't. So you put it on the edge, and here you have the degrees. You can just move it down to, in my case, 60 degrees. So here is 55, and this would be 60, and I moved it up a little bit above, so I didn't do the line in the corner because my edge width, I mean shed width, is 8 exactly, so I wanted it to go a little bit further, so I made it a bit higher here, maybe to I don't know the measurement, but it's like 2/8. I don't know if that's even a number, but let's see. Okay, so that would be a 60-degree angle based on that, and I drew a line there, and I would cut it with my circular saw. My miter saw doesn't go up to 60. I think it goes up to 50 degrees, so I'm having to use my circular saw to do the 60-degree angles cuts, and for the top I use 30-degree angle, this one here. This is a 30-degree angle cut, so that I've done it with my circular saw too for this first one, but for the next ones I will be using my miter saw. My miter saw is just a 7¼ inch blade. If you have 10 or 12-inch blade, maybe yours will do it, so it's much easier, but mine was, you know, a 7¼ inch blade. Anyway, just wanted to show this, and I'm doing the cuts for the cords. I need 6 more, so a total of 7. That is 24-inch on center, and then I'll do the rafters afterwards. Cheers. All right, so I had another chance to come and work on my shed here because the past 2 weeks or so it's been raining and cold. This a week ago was like 20 degrees in the afternoon, 10 degrees at night. It was really cold, so I didn't work on it. Today is back to being sunny and like 60 degrees, 65 degrees this afternoon, so it's pretty nice to work out. So I came out and started working on my rafters. Before it got cold, I had a chance to do all the cuts that I need for the rafters, and the 2 additional pieces that will go, one on the front, one on the back, to have the little edge. I'll show you later, but I did all the cuts. As you can see, this is shorter now, the rafter, compared to last time. I was doing this, I'll show you here in the shed. So I was here inside of the shed, and I was having the rafter assembly sitting on the floor here and hammering it. But when doing that, I only did these two, but it was very, very loud. You know, the shed floor is sitting on the joists, and they are sitting on blocks, so all those pieces were making a big loud noise when I'm hammering heavy hammers on top of these pieces of mending plates and wood. It was really loud. So after I finished these two pieces, I decided to quit and think of a better way to do it. And one way I was thinking I'll do it is I buy one of those, they call them the ones that have a bottle jack on top. I think they call them bench press. So it's a machine, not a machine, but a piece of assembly, metal assemblies like the letter H, and on the middle, where the middle piece of H sits, there is a bottle jack, and it has a handle, and you would press the bottle jack and it will keep, you know, pressing up or down, and that's where you will have this piece of mending plate and the wood, so it presses in, which I think it would work. I just didn't buy one. There was one on sale for $130 at Northern Tool. With a coupon it would have been $110, but I thought I'll use it a few times, and then it's a big piece. Where am I gonna store it at? So I didn't really buy it. So while I was there at Northern Tool, I found hold on, Liam. I found this anvil. So this is a cast iron anvil, 15 pounds, from Clutch. I suspect Clutch is Northern Tool's brand. I don't know, I only see it there. But this one was $24, with discount was like $19. So I thought that would be a good option to use. Put it underneath and bring the pieces of wood outside on the dirt and work on them here. So that's what I did. So here is the anvil sitting there, and I put a piece of wood, of course, underneath, because otherwise it will just sink in the dirt when you hammer. And I put other pieces, small wood, underneath the other three sides, just to keep it even. But while hammering this in, it took less time to do, and it less vibrate, and so much less sound. almost quiet, comparing to, you know, using a heavy hammer like this thing or that one. So this was a success. So I'm gonna do all the rest of them this side, and then once I finish this side, then I'll move to the next one and next one and next one and do them all, so that way I don't have to move this too much.
Why?
All right, so I'm gonna videotape one of the pieces.
Daddy?
Yes, Liam?
Why you stopping out the plane?
All right, let me do this. Okay, so you saw that and the hyperlapse video is only 5 seconds, but it took maybe, I don't know, a minute to hammer this piece in the mending plate, and it's really nice. It's flat, no noise, little bit of movement, but that doesn't matter as long as it stays on these other leveling pieces of wood. It stays level, it's fine, you know. So this is working out perfect. So I'm gonna finish the rest of them, and once I'm finished with all of them, we'll do another video. But for now, I'm good. I'm getting to work.